Hello everybody, I'm here with the probably most British guy I've ever met. It's very on TotalBiscuit, probably half as drunk as me.
I'm working on it. I actually did give a pint of sangria to White Ron. The funny thing is, it didn't seem to faze him at all. Kind of scary. Terrifying guy.
Why? Why is he terrifying?
Well, he just seems to be immune to every kind of alcohol, and that's not natural. Even for someone from the Ukraine, that's not natural. But he's the nicest guy in the world. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, can you tell us a bit about what are you actually doing here at Gamescom?
It's actually one of the only events that I'm coming to over the next few months that I'm not doing StarCraft at. I'm here actually to do just general gaming coverage, which is like the main thing my channel does. We cover all sorts of different types of games, from the biggest stuff all the way through to just a little two-man project done in someone's garage. And we're at Gamescom just to look at everything we can and to do developer interviews, hands-on. We're actually doing something that nobody's really done before, which is dual developer commentaries. We actually brought our StarCraft casting headsets with us, and we had this idea, well, would the devs really like to get on the mic with us with a headset and actually just kind of have a laid-back play session? And you know what, they've responded really well. We had the Old Republic do it, we've had Guild Wars 2 do it, End of Nations has done it, Torchlight 2, and a whole bunch of different guys. So they love it, and we think the model really works. It's something new they haven't done before, and the devs are responding really well, and obviously the guys on the channel are loving every bit of it. So yeah, it's going really well. I'm loving it here. It's great.
What is the plan about? What is your actual plan like a few weeks ago? Have you thought about actually just casting StarCraft 2 and World of Warcraft at Gamescom instead of visiting booths?
Well, to be honest, when it comes down to StarCraft 2, since it's the IEM, it's dealt with by ESL, and obviously the new team, Rotterdam, Misted Vidder, are all dealing with that. And when it comes to World of Warcraft, I know that we're doing some live rating stuff. It's kind of weird that they didn't ask me to do that, considering I did Paragon at DreamHack and Assembly. But honestly, we've been planning. We've had press access for now 6 months. We've been planning this for a long time, just to come here and just to cover every game we can, because the channel's like so much variety, and the guys that watch our channel are into that. We actually recently launched a StarCraft only channel just so we can move the StarCraft off of that channel and just keep the variety there and then do loads of StarCraft on the other one. So it's actually nice to come out every now and again and do an event that's not just StarCraft, because I've never been a one game guy. Even though StarCraft is the thing I cast the most of, I still talk a lot about other games. I do reviews, previews, interviews, self-commentaries for things like League of Legends. So it's just nice to keep up the variety.
If you think of your career, of yourself, everything started like with the Cataclysm beta mostly. There were a lot of people like myself who were in the crowd like, oh my god, I want to play World of Warcraft Cataclysm beta, but I don't have the beta access, and people were just checking out for videos, and I found some of the videos on, for example, MMO chat.
Yeah.
And you really got a lot of subscribers in that time. Have you, now if you're now looking back at that time, have you ever thought that it would become that big in the scene?
Well, not really. I don't think so. I mean, I've been in the WoW scene now doing actual broadcast for 6 years. As I ran WoW Radio for 6 years. So I used to run a World of Warcraft fan site, and that went really well, but we never got mega big. We did, say, a couple of BlizzCon events and things like that. But when WoW Radio eventually wound up, I went onto my own site, Cynical Brit, and I tried to sort of make my own way. And we were doing pretty well with the podcast. We did general gaming cast. We did some called Blue Please, which a lot of people used to listen to. And when Cataclysm came around, it was kind of the perfect time, I suppose. And it was a chance to take all of the things I'd learned from doing about 10 years of radio, whether it be online or offline, did some stuff at university and things like that, and to actually apply it to video and to present something to people that is just nice and easy to listen to, has some pretty honest opinions, and tries to give the most detailed possible view without sort of excessively, I suppose the best word is sort of glazing over the truth, sugaring the truth. I was very honest about things. I was very critical. I think people kind of appreciated that, because there hasn't been a huge amount of that before. Even with Wrath of the Lich King, for instance, there wasn't a massive amount of beta coverage where there was just a guy who's been playing WoW for ages and just say, look, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is the feedback I can give to Blizzard, and some of those suggestions were taken into account. I don't think I ever realized it would get this big. I think the thing that surprised me most is the fact that the channel didn't just die after Cataclysm beta ended. It actually got bigger, and it continues to get bigger, and the views we're getting now, which is almost 500,000 a day, is more than we got during Cataclysm beta, even with MMO World Champions help. So I think the great thing about it is we've been able to adapt after Cataclysm Beta ended and show people all these different games and just show a massive variety of stuff and just say, hey guys, look, there's this wonderful world of gaming out there that you can get involved in. Just pick and choose what you want. You don't have to just stick to one game.
Okay, cool. So can you tell us a bit about the progress of yourself involving more into the StarCraft 2 thing? Like, how did you actually get in touch with StarCraft 2 from starting your very own I Suck at StarCraft 2 series into commentating really competitive events?
Yeah, well, what we did was, on the very first day of beta, I started a series. It was called I Suck at StarCraft 2, and it was designed kind of to teach me how to play more so than anybody else, but I just recorded some of my really early matches. I was doing really bad, and I would watch the replays, and I'd try and figure out what I went wrong, and I'd take advice from people, and that kept going on and on and on, and that got pretty popular. But a couple of weeks after that, we came up with an idea, and it was actually myself and a guy called Emperor. He doesn't cast anymore, but he's actually been an esports caster for a lot of different things for a very long time, and we came up with an idea called Shoutcraft. And the idea was to give very kind of sportscast style commentary. It was to do just about 1 hour casting a week, very short, couple of matches, nothing really major. And that actually took off really well. To the point where I was being asked to do some smaller tournaments. I picked up some smaller online tournaments. I organised a show match on my own. I actually did the I-40, which is a big LAN in the UK. And after that, I just grew and grew and grew. I just pretty much took every gig I could. It didn't matter how small it was, because I didn't get paid for anything for StarCraft for 7 months because I didn't have a YouTube partner account. I only got one around the end of August. So I was doing 7 months unpaid, just kind of as a hobby, really. But I'd take every gig that I could, and I'd try and do the best that I could every time. And it just got to the point where people were asking me to do a lot of big gigs, and it also got to the point where I realized that my solo casting isn't good enough for major events because I don't know enough about the game. I don't have the time to dedicate my entire day to StarCraft. I've got all this other gaming stuff I need to do, especially when I was doing WoW as well. So my idea was that I've got to find a co-caster, and the guy in Britain who I decided is the perfect fit was actually the Apollo, and as a result we kind of come as a package now. We've done, of course, IPL 2, we did Shoutcraft Invitational 2, we did the Ultimate Gaming Championship in Italy, we did Assembly just recently. We've got several major events coming up that I can't talk about yet, but maybe you guys can guess what they are perhaps. You can have a bit of speculation about that. And I think to me now, casting is just not TotalBiscuit, it's TotalBiscuit and Apollo is a pair now. It's like, Rotterdam and Mr. Bitter are a pair in Europe, TotalBiscuit and Apollo are a pair in Europe as well. And that's what we come as. And any tournament that wants me, as far as I'm concerned, has to take him too, and vice versa. So we help each other out, and that's actually really been great because he's got a lot of connections, I've got a lot of connections, so with both of us working together, we can get those gigs. And for the most part, I think people have really been enjoying the combination. It's just a straight up, no frills, play-by-play and analyst combo. It's this classic American sportscast style, and we get along really well because, we're both British, we're both really good friends. Some people keep saying, oh, you're being mean to each other. It's like, no, that's how we are. That's how British people are. If we're friendly, we take the piss out of each other. We take the mick. And I think that dynamic has proved to be resonant among a whole lot of people. So I hope it continues to go that way. And we're pretty much getting every event that we could want at the moment, and it's wonderful to see that kind of sport.
Can you tell us a bit about the progress of why did you actually drop World of Warcraft out of your schedule?
Well, to me, WoW has kind of been a big part of my life now for 6 years, and not just in case of playing it, it's the broadcast. And all of my career now I kind of owe to the 6 years that I put in with the amateur broadcasting with World of Warcraft. All of my podcasting experience, it comes from WoW. All of my casting experience, it comes from WoW. Hell, my big 30-inch Dell monitor comes from WoW. I won the 2009 shoutcasting contest for arenas, and I don't even know how I did that, but I was talking out of my ass. But the thing is that it was about doing something that excited people and turning something which might not be so exciting to people that don't really understand it into something that's kind of cool and fun, and that's really what we try to do with StarCraft as well. But I dropped WoW because I just felt the game was going in a direction I wasn't comfortable with. It's like when I first started WoW, I felt like the game was for me. I was the demographic. Now I don't think so. I think that perhaps they're being a little bit too lenient on people that aren't very good at the game, and actually it's ruining the community because the kind of people that stick around are very entitled, they're very whiny, they are very aggressive, they don't like being told what they're doing wrong, so they get very, very aggressive in groups and things like that, and the environment's just soured to the point where it's not fun for me anymore. I can't, with the hand on my heart, support Blizzard with all of these changes because I don't agree with them. And I've explained at great length why I don't agree with them. I have my reasons for it. It's not just that, I hate casuals. Like, I've been a casual player for years. I don't have the time to play a lot. But what I accept is if something's too hard for me, I don't want it to be nerfed. Yeah? I want to get better. I think that the game shouldn't lower itself to the level of the players. The players should raise themselves to the level of the game. And if they do that, they'll become more pleasant people. They'll become better members of the gaming community in general because they won't expect everything handed to them on a plate. But Blizzard's not supporting that attitude. They're actually supporting the opposite. As a result, I can't support it. There are really good games coming out like Guild Wars, like the Old Republic, like Terra Online that I would love to get involved in and try and support and help the development of. So I'm going to focus on them. I'm going to focus on StarCraft 2, which is not nerfing itself to the lowest common denominator. It's saying, you're going to learn, you have to be good. You aspire to greatness. And I love that attitude from the StarCraft 2 development team. Blizzard have just done such a stellar job with it so far, and that's what I want to focus on right now.
But on the other hand, can you still understand people becoming angry and disappointed of you because you've dropped World of Warcraft?
Well, I hope that most people aren't. I think that some people will be. I think that's entirely understandable. I think when you stop doing anything that's been a regular thing, that they get into their schedules, they get kind of upset. And for instance, when we took a break from doing the Magicka stuff with Yorkscast, for instance, people got very upset about that. And that's really because we haven't had the time. Myself and Yorkscast have been very, very busy. We do intend to finish the series, hopefully in the next few weeks. We'll see how that goes. But I think that people are going to really get angry about everything. I think as long as you explain to them why, and you're very, very clear, most people, most rational, reasonable people, I think they get it. And yeah, you'll get a few angry people. Yeah, you might get some people unsubscribe, but in reality, the actual unsubscription rate, I think we lost about 300 subscribers when Azeroth Daily ended, and we stopped that. 300 out of, at the time, 300,000. So we lost so few, 0.1% of the subscribers left. So to me, what that says is that they get the idea that they're the kind of people that like to play a lot of different games. They're gamers that embrace everything gaming has to offer, and they want to try new experiences. They don't just want to stay with one game. So me leaving WoW doesn't really hurt them too much. Yeah, maybe they're disappointed because they like to watch Azeroth Daily every day. And you know what? I'm really proud of that show. I'm really proud of how that show did. I'm really happy people were receptive to it. I think that it was a really cool idea. Maybe I bit off more than I could chew because it was very hard work. But I was so proud of how that show went, and we'll see maybe if it comes back in the future if WoW goes in the right direction. But I would like to just say sorry to everyone that was disappointed. I said it at the time, and I'll happily say it again because I do mean it. That I hate disappointing people. Every time I missed an episode, I felt terrible. Every time I miss a mailbox now, I feel terrible if I let my subscribers down. So I hope they forgive me for it, and I hope we can make up for it with good Gamescom coverage and great stuff going into the future.
How do you deal with criticism in generally, particularly with your StarCraft 2 commentary style?
Well, the thing about criticism with StarCraft 2 and indeed anything is there's really two kinds of criticism. You've got constructive criticism and then you've got your normal, just subjective criticism. I think that I've been really bad with dealing with criticism up until around DreamHack. I was known, and I am known for causing drama because I'm terrible at dealing with criticism. And it's not just a case of I won't listen to objective feedback. I actually do. For instance, I did it yesterday, in fact. Someone actually made a comment about my interview style because I normally don't do video interviews. So this is very new to me. I've done loads of interviews, but they've all been audio. So I don't understand how to kind of interact with a camera. So some guy pointed out, it's like, that War of the Roses interview you did, that was kind of poor, and here's why. And I took that advice, and I actively tried to fix it. And the guy came back to me the next day and said, you did it. It is your Old Republic interview, much better. And that makes me feel really proud, and I'm really happy that guy actually took some time out. When it comes to the haters, I suppose you can say, the guys who just, they don't want to provide you with any helpful advice. They don't want to say, well, this is what I think is wrong with you. And some of them, they just outright lie. They say, he doesn't know anything about StarCraft, which, many months ago might have been true, but, I do know a lot more about it now. There's always way more to learn. But those guys, I used to get kind of upset about them. I used to kind of flame them back. And Tyler, actually, at DreamHack, had a long talk with me about how that's not the right way to do it. And he showed me and just said, look at all these people that have come to you for autographs. Look at all these people that have come to you for photos. Look at the size of your queue. Me and Day 9 did signing. The queue was 4.5 hours long. It went out the door. It was so many people just like... the amount of love from the community is actually way, way bigger than any of the hate that can come out, even if it seems like sometimes it isn't. So I took Tyler's advice and I just said, look, I'm going to ignore the haters. I'm going to try and focus on the positive guys. I'm going to try and give my very best for the community, try and give back to the community that's given me so much already by the tournaments, by, of course, the charity show matches and things like that, and trying to help players and just promote esports in general, try and push it forward. So that's my current attitude to criticism. If you want to give constructive criticism, you do that, because we have taken so much great advice from people that have actually come out and said, this is what we think is wrong with your casting, and I don't expect everyone to like it, because there is no caster in the world that everybody likes. So, except that people have personal preferences, I would just ask people to try and not be so aggressive to casters, because we all really do care. We care so much about this scene. We love it so much. We're just trying to do our best for it, and when we get a lot of kind of hate and aggression like that, it gets to us from time to time, and we just want to try and be the best that we can. So if you can help us be that, then we can help push esports forward.
What do you think does you set apart from other StarCraft 2 commentators? Like, what does you make so special? What is it, why so many people love you?
Well, I think that it's really down to the fact that what I bring to the table is something that not a lot of StarCraft commentators have, and it's not their fault. It's just that I have radio training, and as does DJ Wheat, in fact. He's been involved in online and offline productions for many years now, actually as long as I have. We've both been in the scene for 11 years in terms of commentary on games and things like that. Funnily enough, DJ Wheat was actually part of WoW Radio back in the day, just before I joined, so we have a bit of crossover there. And what I bring to the table is the idea that a StarCraft 2 cast can be just like a sports cast, and it should be kind of presented as such. And I very much stick to the very strict role definement of play-by-play analyst, and I try not to cross into analyst at all. I try to let my co-commentator do that, and what I hope that people get from my cast is excitement. I try and get very emotional about things. I get very genuinely excited. It actually helps because I'm not that great a player myself. When I see amazing feats of skill, I'm generally awe-inspired by it, and I try and convey that with my voice. Some people say that I've got a really great speaking voice. I don't know if that's true, but some people seem to like it. What I can do, which is what I've done through many years of practice, is to effectively commentate without having ums and ahs and mistakes in my speech. And that's just through years and years of practice. I tried to drill it out of me over 6 years of doing podcasts. I think I've almost succeeded now. So what I can do is I can provide this hopefully nice and easy to listen to experience that a lot of people will kind of get a kick out of. They'll get excited and they will just enjoy some really cool StarCraft that's hopefully presented in a nice, easy to understand way. But even if you're big into StarCraft and you know a lot about it, you can still get something from the cast, because I don't try and analyze. I don't try and say what I think the player is doing. I let my co-commentator do that, and I just commentate the action. I try and just make it exciting, and a lot of people seem to appreciate that, and I in turn really appreciate them for doing so.
Okay, cool. One last question. What goals do you want to set yourself for the next upcoming month?
Well, obviously I want to try and keep commentating the big events. I want to do more live stuff, because the atmosphere of the crowd and things like that is electrifying. It really does push both the players and the commentators to try as hard as they can. So more big tournaments. Obviously I've got a couple coming up that are major that I can't really talk about yet. I would love to commentate MLG. Sundance has asked me to do it. There are certain issues of getting me into America, and perhaps some of you guys that have read on the Team Look Performance about my story where I was actually arrested in America, they perhaps know how it works out. So there are certain things going on that are trying to help me get a visa to get back there. I would love to go commentate MLG. Obviously, I am almost certainly going to be back at DreamHack Winter and many other European events. I just want to try and visit as many countries as I can, because all of the countries I've been to, especially the esports fans, have all been amazing. And I want to try and visit Norway, for instance. I haven't been there yet. I've been to Germany, Finland, Sweden, and I want to try and just visit as many esports-loving countries as possible, try and meet as many people as possible, meet the fans, and hopefully just give something back to them, because those guys are the reason why the scene exists, and they deserve to get the very best. And all of the commentators that I know and all the commentators I speak to are trying so hard to make that happen, so I want to do my part there.
Well, thank you for this very insightful interview with very nice and long answers. enjoy the rest of your days at Gamescom.
Thank you very much.